Well, fallout from a post-election decision inside New Jersey's Republican Assembly caucus is still stirring debate months later. Veteran Morris County Assemblyman Jay Weber, a former state party chairman, lost a key committee assignment and his leadership role after pushing for a conversation about the GOP's string of November losses. Party leaders say it was part of a routine reorganization, but supporters of Weber argue he was sidelined for raising uncomfortable questions about strategy and accountability. Assemblyman Jay Weber joins us now to talk about what led to that moment and the party's direction moving forward, which is most important. Assemblyman, welcome. I wonder if you see it as fallout, and also the big question, which is, what did you want the caucus to consider or to discuss after November, which we don't have to remind folks, 5 incumbents lost their seats in the Assembly?
Well, right. 5 incumbents lost their seats in November, but 6 incumbents lost their seats the November before that. So in the span of 2 years, the Republican leadership in the Assembly caucus lost 11 of its members, almost a third of the caucus, and reduced us to a minority that we haven't been in since Watergate. 23 out of 80 in the Assembly is a very small minority. And so after the election on November 4th, I thought it was a smart idea for the caucus to come together and say, okay, where are we going? Time out. What happened here? Where do we want to go in the future? What does this want to look like? I don't think we should be doing the exact same thing we did for the last 2 years for the next 2 years. It doesn't seem to work. We should at least consider changing our leadership. That discussion wasn't even had. It was shut down and stifled inside a caucus. The current leader, John DeMaio, and his team insisted on a vote without a discussion, which I thought wasn't particularly democratic, small d, and I spoke out against it because I thought that was just plain wrong for me, sure, but for the other members of my caucus and frankly for Republican voters all over the state.
And your reward or punishment is that you were stripped of that key committee assignment, as I mentioned. Where do you think the party needs to regroup its messaging, given what we saw in November and the numbers, right? The margins, it wasn't just those seats lost, but also the margins. And we talk a lot about whether New Jersey is red, blue, or purple. But even in areas where some big returns were expected, it was meager at best. Where do you think the party is missing its messaging?
Well, there's still a role for this party in the state, an important one. The state works pretty well right now for people who can afford to pay $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year in property taxes. For people who don't care what their electricity bills are, they'll pay them. For people who can afford whatever schools they want to send their kids to, right? Some people are fine with that, but I still think that the vast majority of New Jersey and New Jerseyans, they wince when they have to pay property taxes that are as high as their mortgages. They care what their electricity bills are each month and still figure out ways to pay for them. And they care about the quality of their kids' schools, that they stay open. And especially for those people who don't have great public schools, the ability to go elsewhere and give their kids an education they deserve. So there are issues that the Republican Party stands for and principles we hold that I think still resonate and are important for New Jersey to hear. But it, of course, starts with strong leadership. And that was the discussion we wanted to have in November. The leadership in the Assembly didn't want to have that discussion. That was a shame. It was a disservice to the caucus, Republicans in the state, and ultimately the entire state, because, again, New Jersey needs a strong minority party that aspires to become a majority party someday. And I want to be a part of that party, the one that wants to become the majority.
Yeah, well, particularly, right, when we talk about this trifecta that now we've had in Trenton for the last 8 years and now is continuing, as you mentioned, with an even larger majority. The affordability issue, that was something that Republicans had really carried and was a message that was resonating with a lot of folks. Of course, Democrats talked about it too and took it all the way, clearly, with the governor's race. But what other issues statewide do you want to see this caucus focus on, and where do you see your role in that, even without a formal title?
Well, Yeah, I don't need a title to be a leader in the caucus. I've said many times that there are people with leadership positions in our caucus, and then there are leaders in our caucus, and I count myself in the second category, and that won't change no matter what committee assignments I get or meetings I get to attend or don't get to attend or I'm relieved from, frankly. But there are many issues that we can advance that I think speak directly to voters that we need to convince to give us a chance. I mentioned education. There are wonderful opportunities staring people in the face to leave public schools that might be failing them and their families and go to schools that will teach their sons and daughters well and in a way that they think is most appropriate. We need to be champions for issues like that and empower parents. Strengthening the family is again another issue that I think Republicans can really lean into and will resonate with voters who are open to giving Republicans a chance. And frankly, you know what else we've seen time and time again? People get tired of a state government that sends $60 billion, raises our taxes every year, and then finds every way to tell us how to live our lives, right down to whether we can use plastic straws at restaurants or take plastic bags from supermarkets. And now you can't have plastic forks, in takeout. At some point, busybody government gets overwhelming even for the average New Jerseyan. And I think those kinds of issues are not just affordability issues, but quality of life issues and frankly privacy issues will resonate. And I think it can score with voters in the Garden State.
There's always folks, right, who say we need fresh voices within the party, no matter what party you're looking at. Are you concerned, though, that perhaps fresh voices or different voices are being given way in lieu of experience, in lieu of folks who have been battle tested and who are, veteran members of the caucus?
I mean, I think we're always looking for energy and fresh ideas and fresh voices. And there's nothing wrong with a mix of people who have some experience and understand politics or have gotten where they've gotten because they're good at what they do. So, I mean, a good party is, I think, always looking for new energy and together with those in the party who kind of have been there before and can see what's coming up around the bend can be a very strong party. So I, for one, want to hear more voices, want to bring, advocated for different leadership, certainly in the Assembly going forward. But this will be an ongoing conversation of how to hold leadership accountable, how to work together. My interest is getting the Republican caucus on the same page, moving forward together in a principled way that brings in voices, that allows debate, and then that once the debate is had, moves forward together. So I think we'll figure that out. The losses from November and the November before that sting, everybody understands that. And once that sting wears off, we'll figure it out and go forward together.
Assemblyman Jay Weber, thanks so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.